Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Alex, the Comic Hoarder. Thank you so much for clicking play on this video. In this video, I'm going to show you a book that I have now bought the same exact copy twice. The first time I bought the book for $18. The second time I bought the book for $1,500. In this video, I'm going to show you what the book is and why I bought it two times for such a vast difference in price. Hopefully you guys are excited. Here we go. I have the box in hand. It was just delivered by USPS, had to sign for it. And I got this from Semperfi Comics as well as Stray Flexen, the dynamic duo of amazing, amazing comic books. If you're not following them on Instagram, definitely give them a follow. They are fantastic. And they do have some amazing, amazing books available for sale. Recently, they were at a Comic-Con and I saw on the wall a book that I had traded to them late last year. 2023, I contacted Stray Flexen and I let him know that I was willing to get rid of some pretty big books to get a massive Grail. And that's when I got my second copy of All-Star Comics number 8, the 2.5, first appearance of Wonder Woman. That is a humongous book. I never thought I'd own one, but now I have two copies. There were a few books on their wall at the con that I saw pictures of that I wanted to get back in my collection. They originated from my collection and I wanted to get them back. This one has pretty good significance because my son actually found this issue for me and I was really impressed that he saw it. He scouted it out and then I ended up purchasing it. Absolutely fantastic packing by Semperfi Comics. A box within a box. And then when you get inside the second one, fantastic, tons of bubble wrap, all you can ask for. All right, I finally freed the book out of the packaging and here it is. Oh, it's pretty heavy and it is in a brand new pulp holder. This is Amazing Stories number 29 from August 1928. This is the first appearance of Buck Rogers. It's a 2.5. It has brittle pages. When I got it, it was just in pretty rough condition. I mean, as you can see, it's very dusty. It's very dirty. It's very grimy. But everyone said, clean it up, get it cleaned. The cover was hanging on by a thread. The back cover was hanging on by a thread. I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to do anything to it. The side, as you can see, is pretty raggedy as well. It should say Amazing Stories. And then it might say something else as well, but it's pretty raggedy. This one has pretty cool sentimental value for me. And I was able to identify it because this star stamp, which indicates to me that it was sold on a military base. The cover is fully intact. It's not restored. Very, very nice. First appearance of Buck Rogers, Armageddon 2419 by Philip F. Nolan. Book here, H.G. Wells and Hugo Gern's backstory, Frank R. Paul cover and art. Really, really neat. So we were in an antique mall in Indianapolis and we were able to go to an antique mall and I said, oh my gosh, I found a full shelf of pulp magazines. And so I was feverishly going through these pulp magazines. And then my son said, hey, Dad, there's more over here. Check out this wall. So there's a whole other shelf, but there were some on the wall as well. And I was looking through these humongous, amazing stories. These are more like magazine size, as a pulp would probably be, this size. And maybe, from here, it'd be much, much smaller than this big magazine size. And so my son said, hey, Dad, check out these ones on the wall. So I looked, I saw these Amazing Stories. I knew that they were from the 20s. I knew they were old. And I saw this one. I was like, wait a second. This one is pretty significant. When you look at the top 10 most significant pulp magazines, this one usually pops up. So I sent it to the Golden Guys, I believe is what they called themselves, the Golden Guys. I sent the picture to them and I said, can you confirm what I'm looking at here? And they said, absolutely, that's the first appearance of Buck Rogers. And I was like, I thought it was awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, if I knew a little bit more about pulps back then, I grabbed every single one that I thought was significant. And I got the first 5 Marvel stories. I got Marvel Tales number 1, which was basically issue number 6 of Marvel Science Stories. Grabbed a bunch of other ones, some startling stories, but as much as I thought were significant, everything that I could identify. What I think I left behind was Planet Stories #1. I think I left behind Weird Tales #1 because it wasn't the Weird Tales with the Batwoman or the Batgirl on it. So I was like, I didn't have enough, time to go through them all to like really find the significance, because there was just bookshelves full of these things just stacked up and down all over the place. Hundreds and hundreds of these 1920s, 30s, and 40s pulps. And so I picked out the ones that were most significant to me. You can find the video on my YouTube channel, but I think I left behind Weird Tales issue #1. Because I remember looking at the cover and saying, well, this isn't sexy. This isn't cool. It doesn't have any, good girl art. It doesn't have any skulls. That's the things that I knew to look for. Skulls, good girl art, monsters, sci-fi. That's the stuff that I was honing in on. Or titles, like Marvel Science Stories. I knew that was like a timely Martin Goodman publication, but I ended up not grabbing that old Weird Tales with the white border, some of the lines going through the Weird Tales, the old logo. They had a couple issues of Weird Tales from that time. And I didn't get it because it looked like, when I was passing through them, it looked like on the cover that they were just like farmers. And I wasn't really interested in that, which it turns out to be the first issue of Weird Tales, I believe. Anyways, regardless, I was able to get this, work out a deal. Now, the first time I bought this in the antique mall, $18. I paid $18. It was raw. I put it into a magazine, or like a life-size magazine bag. And I just taped it all around, made sure that it was tight, secure. And then I put it into a bag and board. So it was in a poly bag first, taped up nice and secure so it wasn't going to move. And then secondly, I put it into a bag and board. So that's how I had it. Now they got it graded. It got a 2.5 brittle pages. I kind of figured it would be brittle. That's why I didn't want to clean and press it, because it was brittle. I didn't want to mess up this star stamp, anything like that. So we made a deal for $1,500. They wanted more, about $2,000. I made a deal with them for $1,500. We both thought that was fair. A 2 or 2.5 sold for $900, I think. That was a restored grade. And so this is what we paid. There's not much, I didn't even really need to look up comp sales. I just knew I wanted this book back in my collection. It's so significant. Now, here's another reason why I wanted this back in my collection. I love Buck Rogers. I love sci-fi. I love just the history of sci-fi. Buck Rogers may have been the first sci-fi radio program. Years ago, in my love for sci-fi and in my love for Buck Rogers, I bought a ton. Now, I've got a full box in storage full of these, and I'll show you what they are. These are newspaper comic strips of Buck Rogers. I've got tons of them, hundreds of these. So this one, as an example, is probably storyline 283. I don't know what it says unknown here, but it's from 1935. And then on the back, there's notes. The previous owner of these put notes of what's on the other side of these. So I've got that one. I've got this one. I just pulled out a select few of them that I wanted to highlight. I've got hundreds of these. Now here's another style. This is from 1942. So this is during the war. And they depicted the Japanese as vampires. They depicted them so politically incorrect. Now at the time, they were the enemy. And this one says copyright 1941. It was published in January 18th, 1942. So very, very awesome. Yeah, they depicted them as just vicious monsters. And then Terry and the pirates on the back, there's bottom edge cropped. So interesting. Must have been a full page that they just cropped out the Buck Rogers story. Yeah, I have a ton of these. Show you a few more examples. Here's from the Philadelphia Inquirer. This one is from the 25th of 1942. So just spectacular artwork, spectacular history, just sci-fi goodness. I've got a full-blown box in storage of these things. Hundreds of these magazine clippings, all because of my love for Buck Rogers as the first sci-fi superhero, sci-fi hero. I guess, sci-fi character. Love it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what you thought about this. Do you remember seeing that old antique mall find where I got so much heat from everybody talking about, well, you ripped off that dealer. No, the dealer priced this stuff. I can't talk to the dealer. We won't rehash that. I actually did a response video to those comments later that day. But with that being said, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell to be notified when there's future videos. And with that being said, I'll talk to you all on the next one. See ya. Bye.